Hello viewers, Lorenzo here again. This is KSP Contracting episode 16, where for once we don't do the usual start of things. We start off with a ship in progress. We're not going to launch anything new, we're not going to time warp forwards, because as you might remember, and if you don't, I recommend you watch the previous episode, we are working on a mission to Duna. And I've managed to put a Duna encounter here at the almost 2 year mark. Well, this is in Kerbal years 1.5 year, really, because a year is 400. This is not jiving with me at all. I'm going to mess with the maneuver node a little bit more to see if I can maybe get it on that side, but I don't think that's quite possible. Let's have a look. No, I'm going to be stuck with that 1.5 year transfer, which is fine. This does mean I'm opting not to use the refueler Nathan sent me. He did send me a massive craft that I'm completely sure manages to get all the fuel in the world to the low Kerbin orbit that this vessel is currently at. But that would mean waiting 30 more days, and we have a launch window now, and that means we can put this craft underway. Also, if we do need more fuel, we can always shoot it off to Duna. At least that's my reasoning. Because I think this will have enough to make it to Duna. If it then will have enough to slow down, do orbit changes, or even get back, that I am not quite so sure of. Of course, on the way back we don't need the landers, so that makes everything a little bit easier. Yeah, I'm just designing in my head where it would be possible to break apart this tripod transfer stage to make a return transfer stage that's just like this one leg, but that is maybe a little bit ambitious. While I'm jabbering about design possibilities, let me expand more of these solar panels, and I'm trying to align the ship with the blue maneuver node marker, which it needs to be pointed at in 33 minutes, so I'm not in a rush. And then we need to do a burn of 1100 meters per second, which, well, as I said in the previous episode, I'm not quite sure if the ship has the fuel to do it, because this fuel, like the 1/3 from the tanks, was already used up on the orbital maneuvering of just the transfer stage. Also, maneuvering this is rather difficult. I'm going to turn on SAS as soon as we hit the blue marker, and I'm wondering to see what happens then. Will it remain stable, or will it all go horribly wrong? Because as you can see, this center tail is wobbling around. What I could do is take this lander, decouple it, and fly it around to mount that on the top. I will consider that if things prove to be too unstable. For now though, it seems to be decent, seems to be alright. So we can proceed with a time warp. That was a little bit jiggery there. We can proceed with a time warp to our launch window, well, our burn window really, and see how this gets underway. This big massive chemical powered expedition craft to Duna. I do hope it goes swimmingly, because that means we would be bringing back lots and lots of science to unlock, well, everything else. Nuclear engines, turbojet intakes for the airplanes, and all kinds of fun stuff. So here's hoping for that. Let's fire up the engines. Slowly at first. Oh, let's first shut down these engines, because while they might be great for stability, we don't have the fuel to waste just burning in random directions. So let's try that again. Turning on the engines. Yes, there we go. This seems to be going alright. Let's throttle them up more. I sorta can't believe how well this is going. I'm not going to touch any of the controls. This is wonderful. Going to transfer to full thrust. Here we go. Things do look like they're being torn apart, but they're not really. Oh, what? We have more engines that are still on and burning their fuel. I could have checked that before, maybe. So, fortunately, as you remember, this mission has plenty of fuel, there's no doubt whatsoever. So the guys that are burning that fuel needlessly, they will definitely not be chucked out the airlock, just so you know. Right, here we go. Throttling. Now here we go. Steering with the engines on. I'm not sure if that's a wonderfully brilliant idea or a monumentally stupid one, but here we go. Back on course. Reinitiating the burn. Fortunately, these small engines are only small, but still they wasted their fuel. This is going a lot better than I was ever expecting it to go. Let's see if we can turn on the lights. Yes, there we go, good light show. Who doesn't like a good light show? And we got the solar panels to recoup that energy. Of course, that's not how it works, but as a kid I designed the experiment where you had a light and a solar cell under that with a wire going back into the light, and I couldn't figure out why that light didn't want to burn forever. I thought it should. And we can do that with our solar panels here. Let's see, while the burn is happening, because it's so boring, because it's so well designed, there's nothing I have to do except extend solar panels. And I suppose that's the hallmark of a wonderful space mission, where everything is boring because it's been engineered very, very well. And I really like what you guys really did together here, because this is something I would have never built myself, not in a million years. And yeah, it's fun to fly, good to look at, and well, I'm enjoying that. So we're halfway through our burn. Fuel reserves are almost down to half, but they're down that from 2/3. So we should be, at least for fuel, we should be good for this burn. And at Duna, I am still not convinced, I'm still not decided on whether I want to try an aerobraking maneuver or a propulsive capture, because I don't know the aerobraking altitude for Duna. Of course, we don't have deadly re-entry or any of that malarkey installed, so it's going to be safe regardless. But nevertheless, I think a vessel like this will be completely uncontrollable in the atmosphere. So we will make an atmospheric tumble, and then we can use our engines again. So we have to nail it on the first try. Fortunately, after this burn, we have a lot of time on our hands to actually perform, do the aerobraking maneuver. It's 1.5 Kerbal years, so that's quite a few launches. So in the meantime, you guys can feel free to look up or decide an aerobraking altitude, and I shall do it. You guys, after all, are the contractors and should know what's best for your craft. Yeah, there, I said it. I don't think I'm going to be doing all the launches in between, because that would be about 15 more episodes before this gets to Duna. Depends really, if I get some nice submissions from you guys, and do feel free to submit. For now I'm getting mostly stuff from Nathan and Art and Rule that have made this craft. But if you want to make a crazy plane or an asteroid capture thing, or feel like you have something that absolutely has to be on Minmus, shoot me an email, drop it in the comments, or even post it on the forums. I check all of it, and then we can make that happen. For now, I feel it is time to start looking at the map view to see if our encounter is actually going to happen. I am going to delete the maneuver node and just gently keep on burning so that these markers may move closer together. There we go, dropping off on the thrust. Ooh. Fine-tuning that with RCS, even, if you can believe that. So here we go, we have an encounter. It's not the neatest one, but we can make a correction here at the ascending node, which is also still a while away. So for now, this here is completed. The burn has been done. We have fuel remaining still, so all the worrying was probably for nothing. So now we're going to throw in a quick save and go to the Space Center, where we shall do our mandatory time accelerating, also to hunt for new asteroids that might pose a threat. So let's do that. First the asteroid, we are going to track this one. A C-class object that is going to come near Earth in 240 days. We have some encounters coming up. I'm going to delete some of them that don't, because, well, they are not interesting and we can stop tracking them. Stop tracking that. Stop tracking that. Stop tracking that. This one we don't care about. It's not going to hit this year, so it's for the next administration to worry about. Again, stop tracking this one. We can definitely not stop tracking this one. It's really, well, it's not the one I thought it was, but it's still in our sphere of influence, so we're going to track that. We are going to stop tracking this one. We're not going to stop tracking this one because it's going to come close by. This one we're definitely not going to stop tracking because it's in orbit around our planet. Yay! And this one is approaching in 71 days. So we could do something with this, the C-type asteroid. A-type asteroid that is going to approach in 122 days, or the C-type asteroid. This is the one we just tracked. So we're not going to do anything with any of those for now, but we're going to do the time warp to day 30 of year 2. And here we go, and we can use this launch. We have nothing pressing to do. We have the Duna thing is en route. Why is it always night when I come out of these long time warps? I don't like night. The Duna drive is on its way. There's no pressing concern for anything. There's no asteroids on the collision course. So we can have a look at our garage. What do we have? We have the EFS Peregrine. This is an older vessel that has been lounging in the hangar for a while now. It can take a man somewhere. We could shoot that off to Minmus or something for some science. We have the brutal overhead return gap, which is a mad vessel, absolutely mad. But I want to devote more than a footnote in the episode to this thing. When we're going to shoot this off, there needs to be proper coverage of that. We have the LKO Leviathan. That's the refueling ship Nathan sent in for refueling of the Duna Explorer that has currently left orbit. So that's not going to be used, but we can put this in orbit as like a, I don't know, a fuel station. So yeah, let's do that. We're going to launch this, and then I'm going to conclude the episode. After that, it's very much the question of what you are going to come up with, both in missions and in craft. I would like to return to Minmus or the moon for some extra science, for some extra parts, for some extra awesomeness. But yeah, it's all up to you guys what I can use for that. So for now, let us have a look at this monster. Firing that up. I think this is a fairly standard asparagus design where the outer boosters drop off, then the inner one's onion maybe, and then we have this nicely marked LOX tank on top. We're going to put this in a equatorial low orbit, so we have some orbital fuel available if we should need it, or you if you want to grab the persistence file and play with it, either to share your results back or just, you know, I don't know, continue playing in the universe that you watched the video of. Then there's some fuel available for future missions. So we have this launch here currently at 2 kilometers and just waiting to separate those outer tanks. I think after that we can concern ourselves with the pitch over maneuver. And here we go, outer tanks almost gone. And there they go. Now it's just time to wait until the pitch over. And here we go, neatly at 10 kilometers. Oh wow, this is so controllable with the bundle of mainsails all vectoring their thrust. Here we go, neatly at 45 degrees of pitch. Always like to look down at that point to wave bye-bye to the space center, because this rocket is going places and it's going places fast. Here we go, coming up on the next stage, separation. Wow, that makes a lot of difference in the sound. It's almost like passing the sound barrier. In real life rocketry, when the astronauts are in the capsule, it's a hell of a racket when the rocket lifts off, like you might expect, with all the fire and combustion and acceleration going on. But then when they hit Mach 1, which is the speed of sound, it becomes really, really quiet for two reasons. After you become supersonic, the airflow behaves very, very differently, and that actually causes less of a rumble. And also, the guys at the capsule, they can't hear the engines anymore because they are traveling they're traveling forward faster than the sound from the engines can. So that makes it really quiet. I don't know what happened in my game though, because something actually muted the sound. It wasn't just the engine separation. I hope you can still hear me. Otherwise, I will drop in a text blurb saying technical difficulties or something like that. But the game is still responding fine. My recording indicator still says I'm recording, so I can only imagine it's also recording the sound. Let's see. Anyway, we are almost at orbital speed, only at 50 kilometers, so we need to get a little bit more altitude, but this is a very nice launcher. It's good thrust to weight ratio and easy to control. Basically all you ever want in a launcher. And the Duna Explorer that is now on the way to Duna, that only needed like one tank of orange fuel. Well, one orange tank of fuel. I don't know the color of the fuel. But this is delivering so much more, I think. Oh, I'm going way too fast. Jesus. Look at that. Almost in orbit already. It's not quite a low orbit anymore, but hey, there we have some music again. Yeah, the game decided we didn't need rocket sounds anymore, which is fine. Maybe I hit a shortcut or something like that. There we go. Let's round off this orbit by burning straight down. Isn't that wonderful? Establishing orbit by burning straight down. How does that happen? You need rocket science to explain that. And now I'm just mucking it up. Messing it up completely. Okay. There's not a lot that needs to be done, just an orbit finalization. So for that we fast forward to apoapsis, where we light the engines, ditch the outer ones as well, and finalize our orbit, I think. Well, it's finalized, but it's not really neat. We have this big vessel, which could go somewhere, I suppose. It has all the trappings of a explorer. It has lots of engines, which is nice. It has lots of fuel. It certainly has lots of fuel. Lots and lots and lots of fuel. And it has power, it has RCS, it has everything you need. So this is here, ready to support any mission. We could even shoot it off to Duna to refuel there, if the need arises. Oh, my sound did something again. Something is really not right here, but that doesn't matter, because for today we are done. We have an LOX tanker. It says LOX in the solar panels, in case you hadn't seen that before. We have a fuel tanker in orbit. It has lights as well. It has lights, it has fuel, it is wonderfully designed. Thanks, Nathan. And for the next episode, I'll basically just be waiting for your submissions, because the Duna ship is on the way, and what we have to play with is we have one captured asteroid in orbit. We can build from that. We can send up ships with claws and build space stations around the asteroids. That should be good. We can do the boring stuff, go to Minmus and the moon for more science and more parts, which is also exciting, or build a base somewhere there. We can grab another asteroid and take it to the moon or somewhere else. Or we can go to the different planets, or we can just fast forward time and land on Duna. Let me know what you would like to see, and build the craft to do so. Send them to me at the addresses and ways provided in the description. For now, I'm Lorenzo. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.